they were so right all those years ago. Man, 35 years ago next summer. I can't believe it. I was a month away from my freshman year in high school. I just turned 15. I was at a party. I saw that. My life was never the same again after I saw those guys on band or on that band on stage. The lady, the lead singer. Surprised we didn't hear more from them. I think they were Russian or something, man, but they really were like, wow, I knew the 90s were here. Goodbye 80s. That was kind of the one of those telltale signs where you knew there'd been a decade change. Hey, it's Rockin' Larry Locken here with the Larry Locken 1 channel at Pleiadian Express Productions / YouTube. Tonight we're also in association with the Larry Locken 2 channel at the Pleiadian Light Grid Project / YouTube. And along for the ride, of course, and you'll see why here in just a few, is the Larry Locken 3 channel at the Arcturian Crystalline Grid Project / YouTube. You might wonder why I changed the name to including my name and a number. It was at the suggestion, actually, at one of the co-authors of this book that you see right in front of you, which leads me to a good segue to say that I would encourage everybody to check this book out. My copy will be here a week from this Monday. The cover is just gorgeous, and I've seen some of the illustrations, and just knowing these two like I do, I can tell you this book is probably the most dynamite thing that's... I'd put it up there historically, seriously, and I haven't even read anything out of it at all, but I'd already put it up there quality-wise with Chariots of the Gods in 68, maybe the 12th Planet in 76, Bringers of the Dawn in 92. I think it's up there, and I think it's better. It'll be better because these two have... every generation gets a little bit more consciously wise and can articulate things a lot better. And, I think these two are pretty much as flawless as you can get. And they're going to probably write other books together. They will probably each write books on their own. I know that Francesca is going to be writing some children's books. I think she's got one coming out at the end of this year. She's a dynamite channeler. So is David. They're both wonderful at what they do. They are both absolutely incredible, but, Francesca, I'm going to give her credit for it. She said that you ought to think about putting everything you have into your name like that. And I said, one night I was just chatting back and forth with her, and I said, hey, don't even, because somebody like you telling me that, I'll go do it. I've had it named that for about 10 years, but man, if you're... you better be careful, because I'll stop right now and I'll go do it right now. And she's like, nah, I gotta do it. So I did, and then I thought about the other 5 or 4 channels I have, and the reason I have 4 other ones is not because of some ego or anything. It's just that when you signed up back in the day for Google Plus, which was, what we used to use on YouTube to run our shows through, not directly through YouTube years ago, you'd have the ability to up to 5 YouTube accounts, and I just, for the hell of it, did it, and they all had different names, but now they're all, Larry Locken 1 through 5 channel, and then whatever their old name was at YouTube. Okay, so that's why I have all those. But anyway, I thought it was a good idea to mix them all together. That being said, okay. So I'm going to tell you about a couple of conversations I had this week. One of them was with the Arcturian collective from the 12th dimension. They are called the Translucent Color Realms. I have mentioned them in here before, that I'd had a channeling with them years and years and years ago, and then never heard from them again until this last year. And I've had a couple from them so far, and had some information from them as well. But this was kind of a talk that they were reminding me of what was coming down the pike years ago, what they'd remind me of, and they wanted to reiterate to me, so I let people know. But first of all, what I'm going to get into is something that happened to me starting 2 weeks ago tomorrow, or 2 weeks from tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow will be 2 weeks since it started happening, okay? And it's funny, I've been channeling the Pleiadians since probably December of 2010, okay? All my downloads through them, except for 3 other ones in the whole time I've ever been dealing with them, that I know of, okay, listen, that I know of. There's only been 3 other channelings from them that were done. They weren't done in a dream state either. They were done in a complete just... consciousness. I don't even remember doing them until they were done. I don't remember them at all. And 2 of them I actually got right out of bed and did in the morning. So maybe they were from a dream that I don't know about, but I didn't consciously dream it. So that was that. But I never had a conscious dream of a channeling. Well, that's not the case anymore. So a couple weeks ago, Sunday morning, I'd woke up. And I had this thought on my mind. I couldn't get it off my mind, and because I had been dreaming it. The night before I went to sleep, but before I went to sleep, I was kind of half-ass asleep, and the last thing I remember was going into this dream where I was on this beautiful Earth-like planet. Okay, it was up in, apparently I came to find out it was up in the Pleiades, but the only people I could see around me were human beings that either younger human beings that had like kind of a really, like kind of a light, maybe a little bit tan skin, but with like a pink outline around them. And then I noticed the older adults, the adults that were in their, say, 20s and older, not older adults, but older people that were adolescents in our terms anyway. They were pink. They were pink shaded. They were like humans in every other way except for they were pink skinned. A beautiful, gorgeous pink skin. And I remember, the only thing I really remembered is walking around, seeing everybody doing their thing. People are just kind of interacting. It was a smaller community. It wasn't like this big, huge space age city you see. That's not really what I found out too, is that's not really how most of them live on those planets. They do have some of those high-tech cities that you see, crystalline cities. They do have those. Certainly they do. The majority of people on the Earth-like planets in Pleiades, though, about a little over 1,000 that there are, and these are Earth planets with Earth-type humans on them. Okay, keep in mind, there are other life forms out there and other planets that have been terraformed up there that were for other reasons, but there are a little over 1,000 Earth-like planets, they said, give or take. Okay, and they have all kinds of different colored human beings on them. They have every color of the rainbow and then rainbow color ones, and we'll get into that. They also have ones that look like hair. They have, you name it, they've got it, okay? Different swirly mixes of colors. Okay, so this pink collective, I was talking with this girl, and I kept trying to ask her where I was. I was trying to ask her where I was, and I felt like something coming through my mind, like she was trying to tell me through telepathy, and I thought I'd be funny, like I am sarcastic and try to be, and it sounded like she was saying, get the, something like Tai get the, and I kept going to her, get the, Tai get the, and she shook her head, and I said, no, I said, no, oh, and she tried to tell me again, I thought she said, Skaya, my daughter. I said, Skaya, that's my daughter. She said, no, I said, Aya, what are you trying to say, Maya? And she whips out, she shook her head at me, and her blonde hair went back and forth, and she grabbed this, I don't know, from her back or somewhere, she grabbed this little tablet, and she showed it to me. And she points at this, she points inside this triangle where, okay, so the three sisters that form this triangle are Astrope, Maya, and Tegeta. Okay, those are the stars. And she pointed kind of right towards, about halfway between Tegeta and Astrope, but it wasn't too far over to Maya either. Okay, they were just about exactly equal the distance apart from all three of them, and it was a little tiny planet. So I said, so that's where we're at, and she shook her head, yes. I said, okay. She said, why am I here? And I said, well, what am I doing here? And she said, well, we invited you to have a look around, and I'm getting all this through her brain and her eyes looking at me. And I said, okay. I said, do you know? I said, let me ask you this. Do you guys know about us? I mean, I know. I said, I have contact with orbs. You know orbs? And she said, yes, orb ships. Yes, they are us. We use those too. We use pink orb ships. I said, oh, well, that would make sense. And you guys are, okay, so it's all related. Yeah, she said, yes, that's what we specialize in. Our particular collective is known for specializing in whatever color is the stereotypical specialty that you guys have down there, like what you associate the orbs with, that color. It's the same thing with our skin color. I said, okay, so let me ask you this then. Do you guys know of us down there on Earth, just common everyday Pleiadians? Do you know of us? And how do you know of us? And she said, yes, we do know of you. We learn about you at a young age. A lot of us are into deep meditating to where we go out into the cosmos, all over the universe. And one of our fun hobbies that we like to have, and I think I got a chuckle out of her, she said, we like to look for other life that's like ours in the galaxy. We know about it all around the Pleiades and all around our galaxy, but not the universe. She said, we still don't know that much more about the universe than you guys do. I said, okay, wow, so that's fascinating. So you put that intention out there. And she said, yes, we put the intention out there to meet other human races, humanoids like us from around. And I said, oh, okay, wow, that's interesting. And that just comes to you, huh? And she said, yes. It's through deep meditation and deep thought. She said, this came about a long time ago, hundreds of millions of years ago in your earth terms. It was a technique for us to find other life out there. And I said, wow, that is interesting. Huh, that's really, really strange. And then I don't know why I asked her this question. I said to her, I know you guys understand everything telepathically. You're born with telepathy, right? She says, yes, we are. We're born with telepathy skills, and we're also born with being what you would call book smart, educated, as much as one of your PhDs that was one of your doctors or your lawyers would have. I said, okay, so you're born with that. So the rest is what you would, and she says, that is what we would call irrelevant information. I said, yes, okay, I get you. So what is it, kind of things do you learn in your schooling? Do you have a traditional schooling like we do? Yes, we do have a traditional schooling. We learn things like to embrace meditation, like we spoke about a minute ago. We learn how to, for instance, she said, I'll give you an example. You brought up telepathy, and I said, yes. She's all, do you realize there are some times that we go places or we travel places where telepathy is not always an effective option, even though we can read minds? It's not effective and can be frustrating for the person trying to speak it to us. I said, oh, I could see where that would happen. She's like, you know how we get around that if we've never heard the language before? And I said, no, how would you do that? I said, well, wait a minute. I said, look, I have asked other guides about this before on a few occasions, and they have just kind of chuckled and said that we're able to talk in any language to people because love knows no language. And she laughed and she said, well, that's true too. But we're taught this technique that has to do with vibration and sound. We're taught at a very young age. It would be too complicated for me to get into it with you. And we know how you are, dear soul. You do like to talk a lot. And I said, okay, well, how is it done? Kind of, sort of. And she said, well, all it takes is, if I would have never heard your language before, all it takes is for me to hear you think one sentence of a thought in your mind. You don't even have to say it verbally to me. You think it in your mind, and in your mind it's sounding like your language. And I said, well, yeah, that's true. And she said, yes. She's all, it just takes us picking up on one of those thoughts, and we pick up some codes within that one sentence. And that's all it takes, and we will know how to talk and interact verbally, if we had to, in your language for the rest of our existence, which is never ending. But you get the point. I said, yes, I see, I get the point. I see, so you guys just requested that I come here. She said, oh, yes, you put those intentions out to the universe. And I said, yes, I did, plus I'm an incarnate there. She says, we know, but that's another story. That's a different story. We're talking about this reality right here, which there are endless ones. I said, okay. Well, I appreciate all that. Is there anything, I asked her if there was anything else that she'd like to share with me. And I said, how long do you guys attend schooling, what you would call your schooling before you become so-called an adult? She said, we usually spend about anywhere from 50 to 60 of your Earth years in our schooling here on our planet. There are many different planets on many different dimensions here in the Pleiades. I said, okay, well, just confirm for me again what dimensions, as we know it on Earth, exist in your star cluster? And she said, in the Pleiades star cluster, as you know it, the dimensions are from 5th to 11th. I said, okay, that makes sense. So you got one angelic dimension. She said, yes, we do, as you put it. I said, okay, so what is the deal with experts claiming that the Pleiades is too young to foster life, that your sons are not old enough yet to foster life? And she says, well, that is true in one particular case. That is true when you're talking about lower than 5th dimension, and when you're talking about in your time frame that most of the Earth collective is at right now. I said, interesting. So you mean there's life going on, well, obviously, the 5th dimension and up, so there's no life below the 5th dimension in the Pleiades? She said, not in this time frame that you're operating out of right now, not in that reality. There are There are realities where there is a higher fourth dimensional one, but we won't get into that for now. I said, okay, that's fine, that's fair. I said, well, will I hear from you guys again? And she said, you may periodically, but what you're going to have happen to you is you're going to be meeting. Don't be surprised if others like us come in their different colors. And I said, what do you mean, like different colors of what, the rainbow? Like different colors, like the orb? She said, yes. She said, there is every color. There are human beings and multiple races of human beings of every color, mixed colors, rainbow colors, solid colors of the rainbow, you name it, all over. I said, okay. So I might be expecting some visitors that are green or blue or red or orange or yellow, right? And she laughed and said, yes. I said, okay, thank you. Any idea who it may be next? She said, oh, no, we do not know for sure. I said, okay, well, I'll be looking forward to it. So that happened, okay? So I contacted my orb guides after I woke up a little bit and asked them if they knew anything about it. Got in touch with them. They knew about it. They just didn't know who was going to come. They said what they didn't know completely. They only knew innate possibilities. They didn't know which one of the colors would come visit me next exactly, for sure. And they didn't know how it would be done. If they'd come back to me in a dream, if they'd come back to me in trance, or if they'd come back to me however they deemed fit to, and however I wanted to facilitate that. And I said, okay, fine. So it wasn't but the next day, that Monday. Now this time it was before I was waking up. I had this dream, and this dream woke me up, not put me into sleep like with the pink. So as I'm early in the morning, I'm still kind of in that REM sleep. I started dreaming, and these purple ones were visiting me. I was taking a walk through the woods by my house, and these purple ones visited me. Okay, and they explained who they were, and they explained that, yes, they all know each other, that they are also from a planet that is in that triangle between Astrope, Gaia, and Tegeta, okay, in that triangle right there. And you'll find out that 4 of these 8 that I dealt with are. They were also from in there, and their big strength was the pink. That collective was known for their loving advice, their counseling, their helping societies throughout the civilization, throughout the cluster and civilization, helping them with relationship issues, as it mainly pertained to friendships and with family members, and developing, because they're more responsive than reactive. They're very proactive, actually, or they're very proactive instead of reactive there with things like that of family issues, and even when it comes to exploring relationships. But it's mainly the elders of their particular collective that deals with the serious relationship, intimate type situations as far as counseling goes throughout the cosmos and the cluster. The younger ones deal with family and teaching about issues like that. Okay, so these purple ones are very they are very spiritual, as far as encouraging you to get to know your roots, your Pleiadian roots, your galactical roots. You're very into giving thanks to higher beings even than them in other dimensions. They're very powerful. They're very positive, and they're not quite as quiet and reserved as the Pink Collective was. I noticed that they were a little bit more, outgoing and rah, 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 a little bit. And so that was that. Went on that same night, had one more that day, the Green Collective. Now what do you think they are? What is Green? They're healers. They are experts on just about every culture and horticulture of every single Earth-like, humanoid type planet in the Milky Way galaxy and beyond. They're complete experts at it. Yet they're also trained in modern technical equipment that is used to heal people, like vibrational sounds, light codes, and yes, and some chemical medicines that are made out of love and used in only dire circumstances, which isn't very often up in their realm that they deal with. But yet they're familiar with all this stuff just to be familiar with it. Okay, none of these issues, none of these things are a negative, pretty much where they're from, okay? It's only used, just like with AI up there, it's only used out of love and precaution. I mean, when it's used with precaution. Okay, so again, they're like your combination of a great both shaman and both healer as well, or medical healer is what they do. You know, they've got the perfect combination of that going on. So that's kind of a trip. And they were really great to deal with too. And all of them had, you could tell, had like Pleiadian personalities, but at the same time, they all had their own little specialty niches. And then it didn't stop there. It went from the Green Collective. It went to the next ones that visited me were the crystal blue ones. Okay, the crystal blue beings. Okay, these were a race of crystal-looking beings that, well, they look blue. They look very light blue. The males didn't seem to really have any hair at all. All the males that I seen, there no hair whatsoever, and the females, their hair was sort of a it was kind of a, I don't want to say a dishwater blonde. It was a solid color, but it was mainly like a kind of a golden yellow, but like actual golden, if that makes sense. Okay, that's what their hair looked like, and they kept it short, most of them that I've seen. Their specialty, believe it or not, was working on technology. They were always coming up with ways to use what physical technology they had to use more efficiently, put it together in a more timely fashion when things, broke down. And see, a lot of these are issues that they don't have anymore in these cultures, but they still learn them and know how to deal with these things just in case they have to, or they're out somewhere traveling, because they travel the multiverse all over the place. All these races do, and back and forth to see each other, but they travel back and forth from planet to planet in the cluster like it's somebody driving over to the next county here on Earth in the United States. Okay, and then there was the blue. Now that race was out of a planet just southwest of Alcyon, okay? Just southwest of Alcyon. And the only one kind of in that vicinity. Now, so there was that. The bottom line is then I went on to these blue ones that were a darker blue, kind of like you would see the Blue Men, that band, the Blue Men, they're all bald, or like your typical Arcturian, but their head's shaped different with an Arcturian. These were humans with regular blonde brunette hair and with skin color that's like a dark blue, okay? And so they were known for their, in the past, they were very fierce warriors when the cluster was having wars go on with each other, and both wars where they had to fight off reptilian empires that were trying to invade, or other star systems invading. They're known for their military prowess. The blue ones are very strong, very tough, very no-nonsense. Yeah, they had a very no-nonsense kind of a feel to them, too. And then, see, besides that, there was a yellow collective. The yellow one was completely and almost 100% angelic. The yellow one was very, how do I put it? The purple one was very encouraging, the purple collective, but these were, man, if you didn't get the sense that they really meant what they said 100%, you'd probably get annoyed with how often they just constantly, when you're around them, they constantly compliment you. They constantly compliment everybody else around them, and it's not in a phony way. It's, you're doing a great job. This is really awesome. They really mean it towards each other. It's so authentic that if it were anybody less than 100% sincere trying to pull that off, it would sound really ridiculous. I mean, really. But no, not with them. And their planet was gorgeous. Lots of gorgeous gardens. They're expert gardeners. Not that they all aren't, but they seem to really have a green or a tie-dyed thumb, you might call it, with what they do. They're amazing. They're up there close to the rainbow and the white. And then now I'm going to get into the last two collectives real quick. So the rainbow one. The rainbow collective, they exist between Electra and Oh, what's that one down? They're somewhere between Caliano and Electra is where their planet is. The other one, by the way, the darker blue I just mentioned, they are up in that triangle too, but they're more closer towards Tegeta than anywhere than Astrope or Maya. But Kaleno and it's the middle part between Kaleno and Electra is where the rainbow predominantly is. Oh, by the way, the yellow is in two spots. The yellow is, they have two planets actually. They are halfway between Pleione, which is one of the parent stars, and Alcyone, okay? They are also located themselves. They are located up between, in a direct line kind of between Taygeta and going the other way towards Electra, okay? That's where they're located. The rainbow one is between Electra down there and Calione. Okay, so boy, I'm getting all confused now. But this happened, keep in mind, this happened over, these 8 contacts happened over like a 10-day period, 9-day period. Okay, just boom, boom, boom almost. And then, of course, I had to sit on them for quite a while too, wondering if I was making complete sense of it. So the rainbow one, okay, the rainbow, they're kind of, they've got all the best of the worlds in them. They really do. They've got every single one of those races I just mentioned, the human races. They have like 80% of the skill that each of them do within their one self. You know what I mean? All of that together. They have 80% of the talent of all of those, yet within just themselves. And they exist in the 10th dimension. The rest of these I mentioned, they fluctuate primarily between 6th and 9th. Some 5, but a little bit down to 5, but basically the 6th and the 9th dimension. Okay? The rainbow one's 10th dimension strictly. The second highest one, and it's the highest star realm you can have in the Pleiades as well. Okay, and their planet, they're a 10th dimensional, and they're just very colorful and outgoing, and they lead completely by example. Yet they're very vocal as well. They're incredible. It's about all I can say about them. Now, the last one up there, 11th dimensional solely. Now, they don't have one particular planet. All 9 of the star systems, or the 7 sisters plus the 2 parent ones, Pleione and Atlas, all the every single Earth-like planet that is anywhere near the vicinity of them, which is every Earth-like planet in the cluster, of course, because they wouldn't, they used one of them for their suns. They're okay, it's not every single one of them. That's not true. There is a planet, though. There is a planet revolving around each one of those sisters. There's at least one planet in each that has where the white beings are located at, the White Light Collective, okay? And they're strictly 11th dimensional, That's all that they are. And those planets might per se exist without them there, but it's only because they also exist in lower dimensions as well. They also exist in, say, 5 through 10D, right? So they are basically what you would call angels. They're the equivalent to angels in the Pleiadians. I mean, you only have 2 higher dimensions possible until you get into complete angelic realms, which is the 14th dimension. 14th and higher, which is endless, is complete angel. 11th, 12th, 13th, they're primarily where you would see somebody like the Arcturians, because those are as close to angelic realms as you can get without being just 100% on the T perfect. And they are pretty much perfect. They're 90 to 95% perfect, those 3 dimensions, especially when you're talking about the 13th one. So, in Arcturus, by the way, that's kind of funny. Ironically, Arcturus is just not 11, 12, and 13D. They go down as low as 9D. They do have 2 star realms, the 9th and the 10th dimension. Okay, Arcturus does. But mainly it's 11 through 13. Okay, and that's mainly what they have. But these beings are just pure love, pure confidence, pure, they're just pure. That's the only thing I can say about them. The rainbow ones are almost that pure, but the rainbow ones have a little bit of flamboyantness to them too. The white ones are just so, They're just pure, straight, that don't seem stuck up or arrogant, but they're just pure. And so that's what it's been like. And then I realized today that it's only going to be 2 weeks. And it made me also think about time being, we were talking about time just moving so quick nowadays, and it does. But then we'll go through these phases. I was thinking this about a year ago. We'll go through these phases but then during that time frame, it seems like it's moving slow. It'll be going really, really quick for months, and then we'll have a few week period here and there where it'll just seem like it stands still. But I think what it came to me today is, in another conscious channeling, is that what that is that's a symptom of us moving more into now moment living, like the fourth dimension is supposed to be about. The fourth D is, and I've talked about this in other shows too, is that last dimension where time exists. But it's different there, where your body still exists without being a complete light body, but it's different. It's a little bit lighter. We're more of a now moment versus past and future tripping in the fourth dimension. We're more of a responsive instead of a reactive society. And what I'm thinking is like, it seems like that 2 weeks has been months ago, but it doesn't seem like it's been, oh my God, that seems like it was forever ago, and it was just the other day. No, not like that. It seems like, it's been a fulfilling 2 weeks, but it seems like, oh my God, I can't believe it was only 2 weeks ago. It just seems like it doesn't seem like it was just yesterday, but it seems like it's been about a month and a half ago, actually. So I think we have those little lulls like that to catch up, and we're more into, this is kind of our transition, is what I'm trying to say, into fourth dimensional living. Is that, how time is sped up. It has. Even scientists will say that for the last 12 years or so, time, a minute, compared to how it used to be, a minute only takes actually 50 seconds. And dropping 50 seconds of the time that it used to take before, say, 15 years ago. Yeah, really, it's sped up that quick. You're gaining an extra 10 seconds per minute. You really are. I mean, it's still taking, on a clock, 60 seconds to pass, but in time-wise, because the planet's speeding up, it's only taking 50 seconds. And that's, of course, we know that, boy, time is sped up, but I've noticed this the last few years, every now and then we go through these lulls where, for a little while, it seemed like, man, that was forever ago, that was double the time ago. Really? No? But that's weird, because time's speeding up. And then go back to time speeding up again. And it came to me today, it occurred to me that we probably, more now moment living, more that fourth dimensional living, that last dimension, we're going to need that good old clock in, and that's just for a reference point at that point. I had it asked to me earlier tonight by a lady, really cool lady I hope to interview one day. She's out of the UK, just met her, Sue, asking me, how do we know when we're in our complete crystalline light body? How will we, well, we'll know, but when does that happen exactly? Well, I do know this, and I tried to ramble and give her an answer. What I do know is I'm sure that, obviously, for a fact, it's done by the time you hit 5D. That's just part of the deal. Now, probably sometime in upper 40, it gets awful damn close, I would think. And depending on how well you take care of yourself, the water you drink, the food you eat, that's what I would think. As far as does it happen in a blink of an eye? Nothing really happens in what we call a blink of an eye. Everybody wants this big event to happen and stuff like that, right? And boom, it to just ascend overnight. And that's not really how it works. However, the more and more people that are awakened, the more and more people that are in this collective together, same mind, same goal, same mission right now, or similar, the more people involved in that, the more souls involved in that, the quicker it happens. To the point where it happens so quick that it just happens, boom, one time, or it seemed like it did. Once it does happen, it'll seem like it was boom, in a split second. Remember, time, this time that supposedly does not exist, right? Creation is so old that it would take you a lifetime to articulate the number through your mouth in English. Yet it's so new that it didn't even happen a nano-split second ago. Both are true. It's been around so long that it didn't even happen a half a nanosecond ago, or a split nanosecond ago, if that. A split. You get the point, though, right? It's all at once, and has parallel realities connect. We've been through that, and timelines merge, and all of a sudden it will be just like it was. The past will have corrected itself with a lot of the problems that we had went through, right? Because we will have fixed our timelines. all this sounds good in theory. I know people saying, oh, that sounds wonderful, like a fairy tale. Yeah, but when you really get it, though, when you've really done the work and been around it long enough and you actually get it, you get full of knowing it, you can see where it could happen. And it's not a matter of it necessarily just physically happening, although mentally you can then eventually physically make it happen. It's one of them things where I could, if I could articulate it better, but I don't even think that would help, because it's one of them things where you could probably get it by my rambling, but unless you really are full of it and feel it, there's nothing I could say to you, that could, unless you were just a hair away, and then maybe I'm not that guy to articulate it and take you home the rest of the way. But maybe I'll say one thing that resonates with you. That's all I can hope for. And so that's been a real trip meeting them. And of course, I've dealt with the orbs for years. People know my story, and other collectives as well, mainly from Pleiades and Lyra, and some from Arcturus, and things of that nature. But so that's been incredible, and they've helped me to answer a few questions that I had long since given up on asking, and because they really weren't that relevant, actually, honestly, about the language thing for once, and for instance, and then if they knew about us, and how did they know about us? Just every average person up there, not that anybody's average, right? That they're taught about us, and that they go out looking for other human life and have for eons up there. Okay, and then the Arcturian translucent color realms of the 12th dimension. Yeah, I had a meditation with them. I mentioned that years and years ago. Didn't know where they were from then, though. Didn't know they were from Arcturus, because they didn't mention what star system at the time they were at it. And I didn't think of it whether they were from either one of those. It's weird that I wouldn't have thought that, though. But I only had them come through that once, and I mentioned this. That was about 9 years ago now, okay? And then a few months back, they contacted me again and just wanted to touch base. And then I said, well, where are you guys a collective from all over the universe? Where are you from exactly? And they said, well, we're from the 12th dimension of Arcturus, as you would know it. I said, okay. And they said, we knew you were talking about dimensions lately, and we figured we'd come back into your life, and because it was only that brief one time when you were channeling the orbs and the Aqua Ray Collective all those years ago, and we wanted to just reiterate to you that was just a second ago in your time to us, and remind you that stuff is still happening. I said, yeah, I see it still happening, and the colors are getting more vibrant. They said we weren't joking. There will come a time where your plants and trees will be a tie-dye in texture and in color in some places. I said, wow, okay, that's fascinating. I said, well, then how about, let's see, how about this tree of life thing that I've been paying attention to lately? I said, okay, this is fast forward to this our conversation we had this week, okay? I said to them, what is up with this tree of life that I've been hearing about, and why am I all of a sudden starting to see the tree beings again, and why am I seeing civilizations in pictures and in people in pictures that are not there, supposed to be there in our dimension? And they said, because you're seeing through the veil, and you're also, the tree of life is just not on the tree of life itself. The tree of life, they told me, was a metaphor for being able to see into, they said, do you see into bubbles? And I said, yes, I do. Do you see, we noticed that you see on your tablet, you talk about seeing the orb pictures you have on your tablet, and you see civilizations and UFOs on there, and